An India-South Africa Business Summit will be held on 29 to 30th April 2018 at the Sandton Convention Centre. It looks to maximize the potential of economic and commercial partnerships between the two countries. The event is being organized by the High Commissioner of India, and joining me now for more is Ruchira Kamboj, the India High Commissioner to South Africa. Ma'am, thank you for your time and welcome to the studio. As I say, welcome to my office.
Thank you.
So, we have got this business summit that is coming up. Let's talk first about what are the major aims of this summit.
Well, the summit seeks to maximize the potential in the bilateral economic and commercial partnership between our two countries. Indian trade and investment into South Africa is about $10 billion US, and we feel that it can do much better. And so therefore the intention of the summit is to double these figures in the next 5 years.
Absolutely, which is a big goal.
Which is a big goal, but we think that it's quite achievable.
What are you bringing?
Well, the best names from India to South Africa.
Okay.
And we
if
very
you can
much
just give me the sectors as well.
Yes, the sectors are the sectors that have potential in this bilateral economic partnership.
Yeah.
So we have IT-enabled services. We have the pharmaceutical sector. We have automotives, automobiles. There's a focus on women entrepreneurs. There's mining, of course.
Yes.
And there's a closing session on India and South Africa, the way forward.
Right. When I look at the figures and I look at the size of the economies that we're talking about, I'm surprised about the amounts, for instance, especially given the fact that we're talking about a relationship that's almost 200 years old. What are we talking about? We're talking about 8 billion invested into South Africa by Indian companies and about $1 billion by South African companies into India. And I'm thinking this is way too little.
I agree with you. And that is precisely why we're having this summit, to give a further boost to the bilateral economic and commercial partnership, and to fulfill the vision laid out by the political leadership to double these figures in the next 5 years.
From the South African side, what are you expecting? Who have you invited?
Well, we've invited all the top names. Everybody is welcome to the summit, particularly the sectors where we expect to see more investment and more synergy between our two countries. I've listed out those sectors.
Yeah.
So we are in the midst of a very huge outreach campaign, and through your program I'm doing that right now,
sure.
Informing South Africans and informing Indians also about this very mega event. And the outcome, I think, is to see the figures, as you yourself mentioned, to do much better. I'm
certain that one of the names that will not be at this summit has to do with a certain G. Gupta's, a name that has become almost synonymous when you talk about India-South Africa business relations. I would imagine, given the work that you do and also given the relations between the two countries over such a long period of time, the conduct of such soils your efforts and makes it more difficult for you as a government to try to fix it.
Well, you will forgive me, but I don't share your opinion.
Oh.
I think the partnership between India and South Africa is very strong and solid. It is not a partnership, it is not a relationship that was born yesterday.
Sure.
It goes back in time and history to over 200 years. It goes back to the time when the first Indians arrived at Durban port. It goes back to 1893 when Mohandas Gandhi was evicted from a first-class train compartment. You would also recall in 1947, India was the first country to inscribe apartheid on the agenda of the United Nations. And in 1993, was one of the very first countries to establish diplomatic relations with South Africa. In 1997, President Mandela signed the Red Fort Declaration with India, which laid the basis for a strategic partnership. And so therefore, 20 years on, rather 25 years, this is the 25th year of the establishment of diplomatic relations between our two countries. Our partnership is very strong and solid. That partnership is not built on the foundation of one family.
Sure. That
partnership is built over time, over history, and importantly, there is a shared future that our two countries share.
Absolutely, and therefore the conduct of one family is not going to stop that from expanding. But we also forgot to mention the fact that the Prime Minister of India is coming to South Africa.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. South Africa is going to host the 10th BRICS Summit, and Prime Minister Modi has confirmed his presence for the summit. We are greatly looking forward to the summit and to the presence of Prime Minister Modi. Our two leaders, President Ramaphosa and Prime Minister Modi, have recently had a telephone conversation, a very warm conversation, and the President appreciated Prime Minister Modi's call And both of the leaders are also going to have a bilateral meeting in the margins of the BRICS summit.
I was hoping you were going to tell me what more they spoke about and any other details in terms of
I'm afraid
economic cooperation.
I know as much as you know.
Outside of the business relationship, of course, India and South Africa have strong cultural links. And I see you also working with there's the Gandhi Mandela Skills Training Institute and other work that you're doing.
Yes, absolutely. I think the Gandhi Mandela Skills Institute is our flagship project for 2018.
Just expand what it talks about, what it does.
Yes. As I understand this, there is a skills deficit in this country, and education and skills is a big strength of India's. So it is a coming together of two countries to benefit our two people. This is going to be an institute which will be entirely sponsored by the Government of India. Equipment, machinery, skills, trainers, training the trainers, and eventually handing over the institute to South Africa.
Absolutely.
And I would also like to add here
Yes,
that we are not new to the training arena. We take Indian students to South Africa. Since 1993, about 1,500 South Africans have been trained in India. And there are many private Indian companies also who are skilling and training South Africans. So we thought, why don't we have an institute here in South Africa? And it can't be better named than being named the Gandhi Mandela Skills Training Institute.
Sure.
So that is our flagship project for 2018.
Absolutely, well done, and certainly wish it well. There's also the issue of India-South Africa air relations. You're putting in some work on that front?
Yes. I think both countries are very committed to strengthening the commercial and the tourism aspect of the relationship. And for that, I cannot think of a better means than to have a direct flight that connects our two countries. So we're working towards that, and we very much hope that we will be able to restore the direct flight from India to South Africa.
But what were the problems? Because I'd imagine, again, given the population sizes, given, again, the economic and cultural links between the two countries, this should have been masked.
Absolutely. So the time has come, as they say, and we hope that we will be able to take this project forward this year.
Absolutely. High Commissioner, thanks very much indeed for your time, and thank you for coming through to the studio.
Thank you very much. Pleasure.
That's Ruchira Kamboj, India's High Commissioner to South Africa.